Hey, konnichiwa minasan, it's Gray from Wakazashi's Tea House over Japan. How you doing? You good? Are you Genki? If you're not, you will be after this review, I promise. Anyway, today I have a review of the brand new Big Game issue 1 from Mark Millar and the artist Pepe Larraz, who is so good in this issue, by the way. Fantastic. But anyway, it's issue 1 of 5. It's going to be a 5-part mini-series. And that has me wondering, like, how is Mark Millar going to cram everything in only 5 issues? Surely it needs more than that. But hey, what do I know? Anyway, what you want to know is basically, what is this issue like? Is it any good? Does it live up to the promise of the build-up to the hype? Well, first of all, as I say, written by Mark Millar, art by Pepe Larraz. It's actually $4.99 for this opening issue. I don't know if the rest are going to be that price or if it's just for this one, but I tell you what, without any talk of the story, the art alone is worth the price of admission. It's gorgeous. The way that Pepe Larraz has drawn the different characters from Mark Millar's different series over the years, he's put it together. And before I did this review, I was reading an interview with Mark Millar and Pepe Larraz. I think it was on CBR. And they were saying, like Pepe was saying, he felt, of course, huge pressure, pretty stressed to do this, to try and take this project on because of all the different characters who have already been drawn, by fantastic artists in the past. But I tell you what, I'm sure you've seen some of the preview pages. He does a fantastic job. It's really, really good. Anyway, my review is going to be as spoiler-free as I can, but of course, when I get to the story summary, there will be mild spoilers of some of the characters who appear in the story, and I'm only going to talk about the first half of the issue, so don't worry about that. There's no big spoilers about the big reveal at the end. Is there a big reveal at the end? I'm not saying. So if you want, you don't have to watch the story summary, so I'm just warning you now, but again, I do my best not to, give too much away. Now, I want to make this clear that I'm shockingly, only recently kind of getting into Mark Millar's work. It started with King of Spies, probably the best comic, short series of last year, or is it even 2 years ago now? I think last year. King of Spies was so good. That got me into him. So since then, I've been reading Nightclub, of course, Nemesis Reloaded, and The Ambassadors, which I recommend them all, but Nemesis Reloaded, very, very good. And as you can see by the cover here, he appears in this series, and he's actually in this issue. Okay, so I've not read, Wanted. I've seen the movie, but I've not read the comic book, which I've heard is so much better than the movie. I haven't read Hitman, the comic book series. No, wait a minute. It's not Hitman, is it? So sorry, I'm getting mixed up with Garth Ennis. Hit Girl or Kick-Ass, although I've seen the 2 movies. So just want to make that clear that I'm not that familiar with the characters. There are references to, of course, a lot of Mark Millar's earlier series in here. And I'm looking forward to seeing people from the Magic Order come into it as well. So I just wanted to make that clear that I'm not an expert. Can you enjoy it without having read anything of Mark Millar's before? I think you can. You probably looking a few characters' names up to check, who they are, maybe where they appeared. That's what I was doing. But overall, it's a very compelling and intriguing opening issue that sets a lot of things up. Of course, it has to with it being issue 1. But there are some cool little action scenes. There's some, as I said, beautiful art by Larraz. Wait till you see it. And it just left me dying to read issue 2 at the end of this issue. So I'm giving Big Game issue 1 a very strong 9 out of 10. That's it. What more do you want? What more can you ask for? Now, the reason I have this review, in case you're wondering, so early, is because I live in the future. I'm over in Japan, so I'm able to buy the digital copy, after midnight Japanese time. It's actually 11:20 in the morning on Wednesday as I record this. Very lucky to have a rare day off in midweek, but anyway, it just lets me get this review done earlier. I was like, what should I do? Shall I put this out before, it becomes Wednesday, before midnight in America? But I thought, no, I better not, just to be safe. So I'll hold off publishing this until, it's reached midnight Wednesday, the US. So that's it for my crazy long waffle, but just let me reassure you and repeat that I wholeheartedly recommend this. It's a really good opening issue and the art is absolutely stellar. Okay, so if you don't want any spoilers whatsoever, apart from the cover, which you can see here, if you don't want to know any of the characters in this, then maybe stop watching now. But if you do want to know a little bit more, please do watch my short story summary where I go into some of the pages and some of the characters and some of the story. Okay, please keep watching. Here we go. If we start off just focusing on the cover, and I don't want to go into too much detail, but if you look carefully on the floor, you'll get an idea, maybe, of some of the characters who are going to, have some problems, shall we say, in this series. And don't forget, it's only a small, limited series, and Mark Millar has promised to kill characters off, so we'll see how that goes. But what a gorgeous cover. Okay, so we open with a flashback to 1986, and there's a dying superhero on the floor. On the next page, we get a great double-page spread by Pepe Larraz showing a gang of villains, including Wesley Gibson from Wanted. Now, this is the 1986 version, don't forget. There's a reference to the Green Lantern's magic ring, possibly. Now, I'm not familiar with the characters because, as I mentioned earlier, I've only seen the movie. I've not read the comic book, but I'm sure I'm going to be picking this up afterwards and just basically to catch up, but I want to read Wanted for sure. So here we get a brief recap of how the team of super criminals killed all the superheroes, and they've run the world ever since. There's a lot of that through this issue about, secret masters like controlling the governments like puppets, the secret leaders of the world, references to this. Then we switch to the present. We get an older Wesley Gibson talking to Nemesis from the classic Nemesis Reloaded. You also have Mark Millar tipping his hat again to the recent trend of superhero movies, saying that these days people only remember superheroes through plastic toys and big summer movies. That's why we're all obsessed with them. What it is, we're trying to remember what was taken from us. Our memories have been wiped by the sound of it. So why is Nemesis here? He's asking, what's this got to do with me? Well, basically, new heroes have started appearing, according to Wesley. The solution is, kill them all, while we still can. Then we switch to Littlehampton, USA, and we see an older Duke McQueen from the comic Starlight. He's talking to elementary school kids, including his granddaughter, Abigail. He's telling stories of how he saved an alien world, and how when he got back, he had no proof, and of course, people thought he was crazy, no one believed him. But there's an interesting comment here in the final panel where he's saying, the truth always finds its way to the surface, no matter how deep they try and bury it. We switch scenes again to Teddy Roosevelt National Park. There's an incredible discovery buried deep in the park. We have two people talking about it, and then they're joined by Dr. Edison Crane, who is from Millar's Prodigy comic. Apparently he's the smartest man in the world. Anyway, he suspects that extraterrestrials could be behind it because of the materials they found in this burial site, materials that have no place on the planet Earth. And then again we get a reference to a group of individuals who've been hiding the truth from the rest of the world for years. Let me jump ahead to the next one. The next scene switch is Korea, the embassy, from the ambassadors. Did you read the ambassadors? You've got to read it, it's really good. Anyway, Chun Hae from the ambassadors is talking about the new hero, Pakistan, codename Pakistan, because they're named after the countries they represent. He's on his way to help with a collapsed train tunnel. And then there's a very interesting comment here by Chun Hae about how difficult she's finding it to get or to find an American ambassador, because the country's so divided, basically half and half. Whoever they choose, the other half of the country hates them. And then she blames it on Twitter. Hey, come on. Secretly, it's Elon Musk, isn't it? He's the real mastermind behind everything. Now I'll stop here because of spoilers. I don't want to, give too much away. There's still plenty of pages to go, but I will briefly mention we get an appearance from Kick-Ass. And who is this mysterious woman who's calling herself Bobby Griffin? We saw her earlier at that, that burial site. Who is she? And I'm sure she has an important part to play. Okay, I'll start my story summary here. Oh, he's still here. Awesome. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching this far. So we have a preview of the next issue's cover. Well, one of the covers. And look at that. Oh my goodness. It's not looking good for, shall we say, a few of the heroes there. Look at that awesome reflection of Nemesis in a pool of blood. Okay, so that's out the 23rd of August. Unfortunately, we have to wait until then to get issue 2, but it's worth it for a series that's hopefully going to be this good. So, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And if you feel like dropping a comment, that would be awesome. And also, if you're not subscribed, please do consider subscribing and helping to support this channel. That would be fantastic. Okay, this is Gray from Okazashi's Tea House. Very hot and steamy here, very humid where I am. I've had to turn the fan off while I'm recording and it's crazy in here. But anyway, thank you so much for watching and I hope to see you in a future video. Mata ne!